It's hard to stand out in the crowded world of possession horror, but does The Surrender have what it takes to leave a lasting impression, or should it stay in the underworld of indie streaming? Before I invite the spirits of engagement, go ahead and appease the algorithm gods. Smash like, exercise that subscribe button, and summon our whole horror review playlist from the depths below. Set in the family home where a father is slowly dying, The Surrender centers around a mother and daughter's fraught relationship. When a spiritual caregiver, a death doula, enters the picture, grief and supernatural forces begin to blur. The real horror? The emotional baggage that won't go quietly. A slow burn possession film where ritual meets regret. Always like watching these small indie horror movies that pop up on Shudder. You don't know if you're gonna get a gem or just like the weirdest crap that you've ever seen. And of course, some are better than others. I'm also a fan of the growing possession movies. I just reviewed Bring Her Back. And speaking of Bring Her Back, there's Talk to Me. There's When Evil Lurks, one of the most inventive films in that possession genre, in my opinion. And Hereditary. So we're getting like this influx of possession movies, it seems, religious horror. And even as a non-religious guy myself, I'm down for it because that shit still creeps me out. But does The Surrender live up to the high bar that recent horror has set? This is directed by Julia Max. This is her first feature film, and her others have been short films. And apparently it was based on her own experience with a death doula. And it stars Colby Minifie from The Boys and Fear the Walking Dead. And she gives like a great performance in this. Of course, if you've seen Colby Minifie in anything, she looks like she's about to have a mental breakdown in every role she plays, and she does it well, and this is like the same thing. And she is easily the highlight of the film. If anything, this is probably just a showcase for her performance in this. Her mother is played by Kate Burton, that you would know from Grey's Anatomy and Scandal. I just found out that she was in Big Trouble in Little China. Her performance, I think, is shaky at the start, honestly, but it improves as it goes on. I don't know if it's her fault or like a new director, and I'll go more into that with what I didn't like about this film. And it premiered at South by Southwest in 2025 in the Midnighter section. As I said before, Minifie delivers a grounded, emotional performance that outshines the rest of the film, honestly, in my opinion. Strong emotional premise, like a tension between the mother and daughter, the grief process, and end-of-life care, really. It's interesting, and that's why I wanted to see this. And just hearing about how this is pretty closely related to a personal experience from the director has me intrigued as well. As for the good, that's all I have. Wow. The direction was not great. For like a small indie horror movie, let me just start with the lighting. It's very bright. It's just like overly stage lit scenes. They show this like creepy sort of visual of what happens towards the end of the movie, like a cold open. But it's so brightly lit, it's not creepy. It looks like a Halloween costume. In the way some of the shots are just a still camera just capturing the two actresses, and it just stays there for a while. It's just so brightly lit. It feels like a stage play. And I don't think that's what they're going for, because it does cut to like closer shots of their reactions and stuff. I don't know, everything just seems so flat and sterile. And with that, with a horror movie that has that aesthetic of flat and sterile, it lacks the atmosphere. It lacks the scares. There's some supposedly scary parts in it, and they just fall flat because how the movie's shot. And I don't really go on a tangent about how films are directed, but this really stuck out to me like a sore thumb. It just looked cheap. And with that, it just mutes the horror of a horror movie. And it starts as this intimate drama, and then about halfway through, you'll get the death of the father. This is in the synopsis, it's not a spoiler. And like the ritual possession part in the latter half. The script doesn't have enough story to sustain a feature-length film. This definitely feels like a short film that was stretched to 90 minutes. And I get that. She's only directed short films, which I have not seen, but it really feels like my time is wasted with this, with the amount of story that's in it. And to add to the frustration, the ending is just so unsatisfying, offering no real resolution or payoff. It's very baffling, really. And I hate to do it, but man, I gotta give this like 1.5 stars. I did not like this. And I hate to do that because I want to support indie horror films, but this is not it, especially with how great horror has been in the past just few years. This definitely feels like a showcase performance for Colby Minifie, as she's always like the co-star in things, and she does give a great performance here. And there are some compelling themes to it. It never really becomes the haunting story that it wants to be. With the bar for indie horror climbing every year, especially on Shudder, this one just doesn't measure up. But I appreciate Shudder's role in indie horror, whether it be hit or miss. It's always interesting and brings up interesting discussions. But this is just my opinion because apparently on Rotten Tomatoes it's got 84%. Roger Ebert's site gave it a 3 out of 4. So maybe I'm just the dumb one here. You can tell me in the comments below. But if I'm to compare it to other recent possession ritual-themed films, Talk to Me When Evil Lurks, Hereditary, this is just not on that level at all. But are we reaching a saturation point of possession dramas? I don't think so. I think a lot more could have been done to help this film, script-wise, directing-wise. But what's your favorite recent possession horror? Do you think these slower, more emotional horror films work, or do you prefer blood, guts, demons flying at the camera? Drop your thoughts below. And if you're into under-the-radar horror, we've got more indie scares on our channel than your local Redbox had in 2007. So make sure to hit like to appease the algorithm gods, subscribe, and check out some more reviews in my playlist below. And I'll see you later.